Well guys, today I'll be going over a tutorial on how to file your taxes on your own using the AI. The program we're going to be using today is TurboTax. This is going to be a very surface-based tutorial. However, I will be focusing on how to help Florida students to file their taxes. TurboTax is a program that makes the whole process of filing your taxes easier and is incorporated with various AI tools that help you along the way. They make the process of inputting your W-2 form simpler and helps students get better deductions with the 1098T and the 1098E form. You will soon be watching me repeat myself once again. However, before we start, I want to go over a quick disclaimer. You might skip that if you want to, and then I will let you guys watch the full tutorial. The AI log at Miami-Dade College West creates these videos solely for educational purpose, aiming to help students and individuals learn how to use various AI tools while also promoting the club. The AI log is not affiliated with, sponsored by, or endorsed by any AI providers, companies, or platforms featured in the content. Hey guys, today I'll be going over this pretty surface-based tutorial on how to file your taxes on your own using TurboTax. It's going to be pretty basic. I'll be going only over the basics, and I'll be aiming to help Miami-Dade students from Florida. So if you're not a student from Florida, just know that this process might be different for you because I'll be focusing on stuff like the 1098T and the 1098E. So just have that on mind and let's get started. Okay, so first of all, you will have to create an account or sign in if you have not previously used TurboTax. Of course, click create an account and you just go over this pretty quick. If you have used Credit Karma or you use it to check your credit, you can actually create an account using Credit Karma and it will make all this process easier. So we have done it. We created our account. We can see the screen. We're glad you are here. Here's what to expect. You can read over this. But let's go ahead and click got it. So great, we are on the first page. They're just gonna start asking us things that apply to us. Firstly, this first box right here is very important. They will ask if we want to maximize deductions or credits, which most people do. However, if you do press on this, you will most likely be using the deluxe version of TurboTax. So just have that in mind. However, since you will most likely be dealing, if you're a student, of course, you will most likely be dealing with 1098E and 1098T, and you will be using the deluxe version either way, so you might as well click this. Okay, so now we're going to be dealing with employment. I'm going to assume that most of my watchers will have a job, and if you do, you will be receiving a W-2. You probably know what this is, so let's just continue on. Okay, so family, I do not have children or dependents. Housing, I do not own a home, and since I'm a dependent myself, as most students, I do not pay rent. I'm assuming that for some of you, you may, but I'm gonna just leave this blank. Investments, I do not own any rental property or I have not sold stocks of crypto. This might apply for some of you guys, but not for me. Okay, so now they're asking us how comfortable do you feel doing your own taxes? You can choose to do it with an expert if needed. However, the purpose of the video is to do it on your own. So let's go ahead and choose that. I need to clarify this, guys. TurboTax does this thing where they will ask you if you want to upgrade to a better plan and show you the benefits. Of course, you might if you want to. However, I will be just continuing for free. Let's wait. Now they're asking, how did you file your taxes last year? So if you used TurboTax to file your taxes last year, you probably have this information in here. But if not, I'll be assuming that somebody did it for you, an accountant or something like that, or any type of expert. So I'll be clicking on that. We are up to the next window and we can see the TurboTax even give us an estimate of how long they think will take us to complete our taxes. Okay, so we have finally reached the part where they will ask us for information. I'm just gonna make most of this stuff up. Okay, it's not actually gonna be, it's only gonna be my actual name. Okay, so now they're asking us for address and phone number. Again, guys, I'm just gonna be inputting a random address. I don't actually live here. If you do happen to live here, I apologize. So Everglades Drive for St. Lucie. This is just a random address from Florida because, as I said before, I'm aiming to help students from Florida. Okay, now we just put our social security number. Again, this is totally made up. It's not mine, so it's social security, and I hope it's nobody's social security number. Let's continue. Okay, great. We're up to the next step. Now they will be asking us for more things that might apply to us. Were you a member or former member of the U.S. Armed Forces? I'm not. What was your state of residency on December 31, 2024? Florida. Select all that apply. I live in another state. I did not. I was a full-time student. So if you don't know what this means, you can just press this little help box right here. And basically what this says is that if you attempt to any type of official school or actual school, you apply to this. And did you support yourself? Again, if you don't know, you can just press the little box. It basically says if you spend your own money on things like food, housing, clothes, education, you do apply for this. I know some of you might apply for this, some of you might not because you're dependent. I'm gonna just press no. Were one or more of your parents alive as December 31st, 2024? I will be pressing yes for this one. Okay, guys, this box is really important. If you're a full-time student, even if you're under the age of 24 and you have a job, you might apply for this. If your parents pay for most of your expenses, that means that you are independent and you apply for this. And I know some of you might be independent. Maybe you guys move out and you have a full-time job and you're also a student and you might not apply to this. But however, again, if you have parents that pay for your expenses, you're dependent, you apply for this, and they will most likely be adding you to their claim on the 2024 tax return. This is something to ask your parents for. However, I will be assuming that this is true. Okay, let's continue. I was considered legally blind as December of 31st, 2024. No, I'm preparing this return for Gustavo, who has passed away. No, I want to change the language the IRS used to send me written communications. No, I'm a non-resident alien or dual status alien spouse. No, I'm currently incarcerated, means that you're in jail. No, none of this will apply to me, so let's continue. Okay, so what about your household? What was your material status on December 2024? I'm gonna put single. And do you have any dependencies? This usually means children. This is something, if you're a full-time student, this is something for your parents to do. I will be assuming that since you're a student, you do not have any children. Of course, if you do, you might press yes, but for this video, I'm not gonna do that. So here you go. Do you make any money in other states? I'm gonna be pressing no for this video. If you did, this process is gonna be a little bit more complicated. I hope you didn't go to like Vegas and make like $1 million. Well, maybe I do hope that you did that. However, it's just gonna make the process more complicated. Don't miss out on important updates. If you want to get updates to your phone, you might click on this. However, I'm just go continue. All right, awesome. We have finished the my info part. This is basically just a review of the things you filled. You might go over this to check everything is correct. And once you do, you just press continue. Okay, so TurboTax does this thing where you're basically going to say okay and sign some things for it to save your information. So you might go as well and go ahead and do that. Okay, guys, as previously mentioned, TurboTax will do this thing that we will ask you if you want to upgrade, and it will show you the benefits. But I'm not saying that you don't do this. However, for the matter of this video, I'm just gonna continue as we are. Perfect. We're finally on federal stage. Now we will talk about your income. So again, if you have a job, You will probably be receiving this form called the W-2, which is just a summary about your income. This will be the most important part for most of you guys. So let's go ahead and press out my income. Okay, so let's work on our W-2. Enter the employer ID number. If you do have your W-2 form, you will see this as it shows. I'm just going to be inputting a random one. Let's continue. How would you like to add your W-2 form? Okay, so this part is very important. If you do have a digital version of your W-2 form, you can just upload it. Or if you have it physically, you can snap a photo, and TurboTax will use artificial intelligence to pull all this information out into their program. Of course, you might want to do this. I encourage you to do this. However, for the matter of the video, I'm just gonna be typing in myself. Okay, so I will be filling this information myself about the W-2 form. However, if you decided to snap a picture of it or upload it with digital form, these boxes are already gonna be full for you. So again, I'm just gonna make stuff up right here. Address. I'm just making stuff up right now. That's a random address from random view. Okay, and box V, this is just a control number. It's just a number certain employers use to identify you on their system. If you have one, you might put it in. Again, this is optional as it says. So let's just continue like that. Okay, now they will be asking us for income and tax withheld. Again, guys, if you decided to snap a picture or upload a digital photo, all of this is going to be filled up. However, I just wanted to show you guys this part of the process, so I'm going to input some random numbers real quick. Okay, guys, so I made up some numbers here, thinking about a Florida student that's just having a part-time job. And here there's some less common items. For this, most of you guys are just going to be empty, so I might leave this empty. And we have box 12. This is for your 401k. If you don't know what that is, you probably are not using it, but it's just basically a retirement saving plan. Some jobs might offer this, and you can actually get money out of your paycheck for this saving account. But I will be assuming that most of you guys are not doing this. So let's continue. Okay, guys, before continuing to box 13 and box 14 of the W2 form, I want to show you guys a cool feature about TurboTax, and that also incorporates artificial intelligence. And you can actually click this little box right here, and you can talk to a chat bot that will help you file your taxes on your own. Here, as you can see, I was actually talking to him to help me with a form, and you could just text here anything. Let's see. What's box 13 in the W2 form? And just like that, it will search and summarize your questions. So this is a pretty amazing feature with artificial intelligence you might use to help you on the way. So just have that in mind. Box 13, you press any of this if it applies to you. If it doesn't, you just don't. Box 14, this is extra information your employer might report that doesn't fit on the other boxes. This might be like days he paid that you were sick, or maybe if your employer is paying for your institution. There's actually jobs that do that. But however, I'm gonna just leave it blank. If you uploaded the W2 form, this might be already filled or blank for you. The state taxes, so in Florida, we don't have income state taxes, neither local taxes, so I'm just gonna leave this empty. Now we'll be reviewing the amounts you inputted on boxes 1 or 2. Make sure all of this is correct. And let's double check. This is empty. We have no state income tax, neither local tax in Florida. So let's just continue. Okay, we're doing great, guys. Now TurboTax is asking us for more uncommon situations that might apply to us. You might go over and read all of this to see if any of this actually apply to you. The process of filing taxes might be different. It might ask you for different things. If you get lost, remember, you can always use the little chat box right here. However, for me, in my case, none of this apply to me. So let's just continue like that. Now we can see our W2 summary. Let's just make sure that everything on this is correct and you can continue. We're doing great, guys. Now we actually have our estimated fair refund and our standard deduction. So let's continue. Okay, guys, now we're going back to the more things that might apply to you. Do you make any money from interest? Includes interest from savings, personal loans, CDs, treasure holds. You might get a 1 out of 10 ET if you make more than $10. If this applies to you, press yes. However, in this case, I'll be assuming no. Do you get this only from holding company stocks or shares? This might apply for some of you guys. If you do, you will get this form, the 1099 DAB. So if it applies to you, you say yes. In this case, I'll be pressing no. Do you own or control foreign bank accounts, trust or financial? If this applies to you, again, press yes. I'm pressing no. Let's continue. Okay, so we're done with the income part. Now we can actually press done with income and continue. So we can see we're almost halfway done through federal. And we're back to the marketing. Remember, TurboTax will always be asking you if you want to upgrade. However, we're gonna continue such as we are. And again, we have more questions. If you don't know what this is, maybe it doesn't apply to you, you can always press learn more and read about it here or ask to the chat bot. But I did not own or control foreign accounts. Do you need to report these terms to sure taken between? No, it doesn't apply to me. You have crypto, NFT, or other digital assets. If this applies to you, again, you can press yes. In this case, I'm pressing no. Amazing, we already made it to the part where TurboTax will try to find deductions for you. Let's find them right now. Okay, guys, we are on the part that TurboTax will ask us if we want to do a standard or itemizing deduction. So a standard deduction is just the regular one. It tends to be the best one. As we can see, most people get a bigger refund by choosing standard deduction over itemizing. However, you can make the calculation. If you're a Florida student, I'm assuming you will not apply for this, but if you have a lot of assets and you apply to many things that the itemized deduction has, you might actually get a better refund using the itemized deduction. And TurboTax helps you decide. Basically, you can put all those things and it will calculate to see if you get a better deduction from the itemizing rather than the standard. However, we're just gonna continue with the standard because that's the usual one. Okay, guys, we have finally made it to the part that asks us if we have or anybody in our family have college expenses. Again, this video is aiming to help Florida students, so we will be pressing yes. If you do have expenses and tuition fees or any other type of expenses of college, you will most likely be receiving a 1098-T form. I actually got mine 1098-T form in January, so we're going to be pressing yes for this box. Do you have any investment expenses? If this applies to you, press yes. In my case, I'm gonna press no. Do you have any medical expenses? Again, if this applies to you, press yes. In my case, I'm gonna press no. Do you contribute to a traditional IRA or Roth IRA? This is not going to apply for most of you guys, but however, if in your job you have the retirement plan out of your paycheck and you actually decided to put more money, a part of your normal paycheck into that retirement plan, then this is going to apply to you. However, I'm pressing no. Do you make any estimate tax payments? So throughout the year, do you pay towards your taxes at any point? If you did, you will usually know. So I'm gonna press no for this. Do you use money from qualified education program? What this means, this is usually something that your parents do, that they put money aside out of the paycheck for this program, and it's only money that can be used for educational expenses. So this is something to ask your parents for. I'm gonna press no, however. And again, guys, this one's very important. Did you make payments on a student loan? I will be assuming that this applied to some of you guys. So if you did, you will be receiving the 1098 form from your student loan service. It's just a form that talks about the interest of your loans. So if this applied to you, which it may, press yes. I'm gonna press no, however, but please have a little mind. Okay, now TurboTax is going to check if the IRS will require you to enter any health insurance information. Read over this. You can press more information about this if you're not sure. I will be assuming that most likely you're not going to be applying to this. However, you might, so please go ahead and read over this. But we're just going to go continue. Right now, we're going back to our tax break, and we're going to have to fill the 1098-T form. So let's go ahead and do that. So do you want to enter your higher education expenses, no matter who you pay for them, as part of student or without aid, will help you get best tax breaks possible, will cover expenses like tuition and scholarships or aid. Press yes. Were you working on an associate, bachelor's, or graduate degree? You say was. What was your enrollment during the 2024 full time? Do you get a 1098-T for the 24 year? We did. And guys, very simple. If you did get your 1098-T, like I did from my respective college, you can actually use to upload the digital version or snap a picture if you have a physical, and TurboTax will use artificial intelligence to pull all the information out. However, I'm gonna go ahead and type it in myself. Okay, guys, I'm going to fill all this information out for the 1098-T form. However, as I said before, if you have a digital copy or a physical copy, you can just snap a picture or upload it. And that way, this process is just going to be easier for you and you're going to save time. But I'm just going to be filling it out real quick based on the normal tuition of a Miami-Dade college student. Okay, awesome, guys. I just made up some numbers here. However, make sure all of this information corresponds to your 1098-T form, and don't just make up these numbers because that's not how it's supposed to be. So let's continue. Do you receive any of the following tax-free benefits last year? If you apply to this, press yes, but in this case, I'm going to press no. Was any of your financial aid already included as income? So if out of your scholarships or whatever you got, your FAFSA or anything, you put that as income in your W-2, then press yes. If you didn't, you press no. Was your enrollment status for 2024 at least half time? So previously I put yes on this one. If you're a full-time student on Miami-Dade or any other college or institution, this is going to be yes. Did you go to another school in 2024? No, I didn't. Do you pay for books or materials to attend to school? We can help you deduct the cost of certain things. Okay, guys, if you go to Miami-Dade College or literally any other school, this will most likely be a yes. And you can actually see on your portal how much it's charging you for digital books or any other equipment. However, I'm just going to press no so I don't add so many more numbers. Do you take a tax-free distribution from 529 plan for payments to our qualified education loan? If it applies to you, say yes. If it doesn't, say no. For the matter of video, I'm pressing no. Scholarships and financial aid. Now they're just going to ask us about our scholarships. Do you receive a scholarship or grant in 2024? Guys, if you have any type of aid like FAFSA, Future Bright, or anything such as, this is going to be a yes. And I already included the scholarships grants an amount on the 1098T previously. So this is already filled for me. I don't have to do anything in here, but take your time to read over this and make sure this is correct for you. Did your aid include amounts not awarded for the 2024 expenses? So this basically is asking you if you got any type of scholarship that was not reported in your 1098T. For my case, it's going to be no, but if you press yes, it will simply just ask you how much more out of your scholarships was not reported on the form. But I'm going to be pressing no. Do you pay for a room and board with a scholarship or grant? This is basically just asking you if out of the money of your scholarship, do you use it for a room, research, travel, clerical help, anything like that? If it applies to you, say yes. Just put how much you did use, and if it doesn't, just press no. Have you earned 4 years of college credit before? This usually means if you had a bachelor's degree. I'm assuming that if you are a Miami-Dade student, you're going to transfer and you still don't have a bachelor's degree. So I'm going to press no. If you do, again, just press yes. It's not the case though. If this is your first year of college, you might apply to this. In my case, I do. However, if you don't, just press no. It might be your second year in Miami-Dade College. This is just one of those things that we have to ask about. Have you ever had a felony drug conviction? Of course, this is not going to apply to most of you. If you do, just press yes. Okay, perfect. We're done with the 1098T. Just make sure all of this information is correct and press continue. Okay, so sadly, we did not qualify for any tax break on our education expenses. This is most likely because if you're a dependent and you do not qualify to a lot of deductions, and sometimes even if your scholarships exceed your education expenses, which I know for some of you they may, there's no reason to give you any type of tax break. Okay, guys, it is now asking us for our 1098E form. If you don't know what this is, you probably don't have one, but it's just a form that you will get from your student loan service if you did get a loan, and it just asks you for your interest. Again, if you did not get a loan, this doesn't apply to you. If you did, you will most likely get this form. You can just upload it, snap a picture of it. It will use artificial intelligence to pull all the information out, just as the 1098T and the W2. However, I'm just going to skip this for now because I know it's not going to apply for some of you guys. If it does, it's just going to be the same process as the 1098T and the W2. All right, great. We have got your tax breaks covered. Perfect. We're done with tax break. Do you want to enter your sales tax information? This is only imposed at state and local level, and Florida does not have that, so no. Awesome. We increase your refund as much as possible. Perfect. We can see the information here. The standard reduction lower the income you're taxed on by 24%. Great, as all of us want to. Okay, now it's just going to do a quick check from common situations. If you apply to any of these in common situations, you will be pressing yes. If not, just press no. Did you hire a living nanny or house employee? I did not. Do you want to apply your refund to the next year return? If you do want that, just press yes, but I won't press no. Do you want to designate $3 to the presidential campaign? No. Continue. Great, that's all they need. Let's keep going and wrap it up. Okay, guys, now it's just confirming our information in here. Accuracy is everything. Time for a quick review. Let's check our information. It's very important, guys, that you make sure everything is correct because you can get rejected for your taxes if you have like a misspelling on your name or something like that. So make sure all your information is correct. Gustavo, congrats on your $157 refund. Here you will get a quick summary by this little AI they have. Pretty straightforward with all your information. You can read over it if you want to. Let's continue. Okay, guys, so you will probably don't need to fill a Florida return because Florida does not have an income state tax. So we're just going to skip that. Let's get your return ready to file. And now, guys, we're in the review part. We are just going to be seeing this year tax recap real quick. Perfect. Time to put all together for one last look. So you are going to be reviewing the information you put several times. It's actually going to be helpful because you need to make sure all this information is correct. And sadly, guys, I was filming this video and it took me way more time than it was supposed to. But it's fine, it's fine. It's just 2 hours. TurboTax with the marketing once again. We're not going to add max. And we are done. At this point, guys, I cannot go any forward because TurboTax is already ready to file your taxes, and I'm not filing real taxes, I'm just making a tutorial. Here we can see our refund and how much they're charging us because we were using TurboTax Deluxe. We can pay with credit card or use Paywall Federal Refund. It's just going to take the difference out of this. But I want to show you guys real quick the difference of money that you will be spending if you go do it with a specialist or a professional. If you file the taxes with a professional, using the deductions TurboTax just did for you, you will be spending an average of $250 to $350. Sometimes they take all of your refund too. However, if you use TurboTax, they only be charging you around $60 to $50. So guys, yes, you can save money, and yes, it's way simpler to do it with TurboTax. So I encourage you to use TurboTax to file your taxes. It's friendly, super easy. It took me 2 hours, but only because I was filming a video. I promise if I was not filming this video, it only would have taken me around 30 minutes. It's got artificial intelligence. You can chat with this chat box that's going to help you. So I really encourage you to try to use this tool to file your taxes for this year. And I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial right here. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see more tutorials like this. And thank you for watching.